Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Friday. It's Daryl here. It is bright and freaking early, man. You know it. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Yes, 3 a.m. If you watch my channel and it's this early, you know I have a strong opinion about the story I'm going to talk about. Okay, I wasn't even going to talk about this story, but I've seen it blow up over the last about 12 hours. It's literally all over the news, all over TMZ, and I've read there's like an hour by hour recapping eyewitness accounts, videos, and I've looked over everything, and I have an opinion on this. What am I talking about? Okay, let me sum it up really quick. Britney Spears allegedly was assaulted, slapped in the face, knocking off her glasses by a bodyguard of a NBA player, a young NBA player, Victor Wembanyama. I hope I'm pronouncing that name right. I'm not a big sports fan, and I'm not a big basketball fan, unless it's the Lady Huskies from Yukon. But I actually had to Google this guy. I had no idea who Victor Wembanyama is. Supposedly he's the hottest new draft in, I think he's playing for the San Antonio Spurs. Forgive me if I got that wrong. Okay, so one of his bodyguards, not Victor Wembanyama, who by the way is 7'4", and Britney is 5'3", I believe. One of his bodyguards, she tried to approach him. She made contact with him. That's debated. And one of the bodyguards backhanded her. Okay, now everybody and their brother has an opinion on this. I've seen the video from Victor Wembanyama talking about this, and there's a lot of haters on Twitter. I'll have the link down below. And that's when I started to form an opinion about this. I saw I believe Victor's in his practice facility, and he's being interviewed about this. And he's an 18-year-old kid, and he had no idea any of this happened. And he's being interviewed, and he kind of laughs awkwardly, and he got so much hate underneath this in Twitter. It was ridiculous, and that's when I made up my mind that I had to make this video. Usually, I'm a big defender of women, but in this case, I don't believe that sex makes a difference. A male or female makes a difference in this. And stick with me here. Okay, this occurred at the area hotel in Las Vegas. Now, Britney just finished a residency in Las Vegas, and she calls this her hotel. So I'm assuming she lives there. She considers this her home with Sam Asghari. I think that's her fiance. Now here's Britney Spears' account of this. She said she saw him. She's a fan of him. How long this guy's been around? How she could be a big fan of this guy? I don't know. I don't think he's been around that long, but. And she said she tried to approach him at another hotel, and she couldn't get near him. And then she saw him at her hotel going into the Catch restaurant, surrounded by his bodyguards. He's like the biggest thing since LeBron James. That was a quote. Okay, so I'm thinking she thinks this is like her home. So she managed to weave her way between his bodyguards. Now she says she just tapped him on the shoulder. Remember, she's 5'3" and he's 7'4", so I don't know how you tap somebody. Anyway, maybe she tapped him on the back. And one of the bodyguards backhanded her. Then there was talk of filing a police complaint against the bodyguards about this. Her view of this, Sam Asghari had to join in too, and he put out I think this is a tweet. I'll put the links all down below. And he's saying that the security guards should have been better vetted, and it's they should get an apology and all this other stuff. Like I said, Victor Wembanyama was interviewed, and this is an 18-year-old kid, and he had no idea. He had no idea this. He was just kind of pushed out of the way. He says in this interview that he was told to keep moving. There's people yelling and screaming for his attention, and he was told by his bodyguards to not stop, because then people surround him and swarm. And he says that he knew there was something, a kind of altercation behind him. He had no idea until a couple hours later, after when he was eating, that he was informed that it was Britney Spears that was behind him. And during this interview, there's an awkward kind of he's 18 years old, and he was like, and he kind of laughed, and he's just recounting his day and how weird this was, and he laughed, and he got nothing but hate on Twitter. This guy is just an 18-year-old kid dealing with a newfound fame. I have nothing bad to say about Victor Wembanyama. All right, now the bodyguards. People are saying that, well, she's only 5'3", and he's 7'4", and she should have been treated better, and she was assaulted and backhanded and all this other stuff. In this case, we all seen what's been going on. Who was it? There was a couple of singers hit in the face by phones, being thrown on stage. I mean, for one of the things that came to my mind was John Lennon. You don't know what people are going to do. Nobody knew this was Britney Spears. By the way, there's an eyewitness account. The interview will be down below. This is the regular guy that saw the whole thing. And he says that Britney Spears was constantly yelling, excuse me, sir, in a British accent. And the whole time she was talking. And then, oh, by the way, after she was slapped and picked up her glasses and everything, she said this, and I guess she was pulled away. She screamed out, "This is effing America," in a British accent. She's not British. I think she was born in Louisiana or Florida, Louisiana. Yeah. So, you know what? I think Britney Spears doesn't even know how to act in society. I think she was a child star, and she still has no clue on how regular social interaction works, I think, or how normal people function. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. Okay, now so let's look at it from the bodyguard's point of view here. They were hired to protect this guy, and like I said, look at what went on during the 4th of July weekend with all these incidents, we'll call them. What goes on here in the country every day with the drug use, the drug addiction and everything. You don't know, and the mental health issues, and so they're hired to protect this 18-year-old kid. And somebody comes out of the blue, and this is her big mistake, is she weaved, by all accounts, she weaved her way, she snuck her way, being just 5'3", snuck her way in past the bodyguards. Now, there's a big contention about, Victor Wembanyama claims that she grabbed him from behind. And Britney says she never grabbed him from behind. She tapped him on the shoulder. And this, it's neither here nor there. To me, it doesn't even make a difference. She snuck her way past the security, and she made contact with the person that they were hired, good money, to defend, so that people don't make any kind of contact with him. And she snuck her way past. So, I mean, whether it was I think there's a good chance that Victor Wembanyama, the security guards freaked when they saw her. One of them backhanded her. The other one probably protected Wembanyama, and that's when he probably felt the hands go around him. Because he was facing the other way. He had no idea what was happening behind him at all. This is just an innocent 18-year-old kid, and he's getting so much hate over this, it's ridiculous. I think Britney Spears just doesn't know how to act anymore, or ever, in society. I don't think she knows how normal people function. She lives in this. After the residency now, she lives in this hotel, and I'm not banging on her. I'm not cracking on her. It's just her circumstances have never allowed her. Her luck and her fame and fortune have never allowed her to understand how normal people interact. And here's an interesting thing. Somebody rolled up on me and got in my personal space yesterday, and that's going to be the next video. I made this video yesterday when somebody intentionally walked into me. That'll be the next video. So it's kind of ironic that we're talking about invading personal space here. I think Victor Wembanyama is just a young kid dealing with his newfound fame, and that's it. Instead of looking at the height of these two people, like they're talking about, Britney's so small and this guy's 7'4". And she got slapped in the face, and they're making it sound like this guy, assaulted her, and he had no idea who anybody was even behind him. It was a security guard. It's not so much about the height, that he's a big basketball player and she's just a little girl. No, to me, it's more about the age. This is an 18-year-old kid dealing with newfound fame, hired with bodyguards surrounding him. Probably not even hired by him. Probably hired by the NBA. And these guys seeing everything that's on the news every day. They have no idea what anybody's going to do. Like I mentioned, John Lennon. You don't know what somebody sneaks in and goes for the guy you're protecting. What are you going to do? I think she's lucky that it was just a backhand and not a full-on hit. I think you need to look at the ages of these people. She's 41. She should know better. He's an 18-year-old kid, and on top of that, he had no clue what was even going on behind him. So these are my you know, I wasn't even going to comment on this, but it's just there's more and more posts, and most of the posts are angry posts directed at Victor Wembanyama. Hope I'm saying that name right. All right, so like I said, next I'm going to talk about my day yesterday when somebody intentionally, a guy about 6 inches shorter than me, about 50 pounds smaller than me, intentionally like pushed me off the sidewalk. Yeah, I didn't handle it well. That's the next video. Have a good Friday.